It's now time to create the recess underneath of our shape to be able to put the battery and the switch in. The recess is actually quite complicated, and we're going to do it in 2 steps. The first step is highlighted in the diagram here. It's going to be 15 millimeters deep, and that's going to house the battery. You can see that the battery sits in about this deep, and then there's a small 7 millimeter space down here with a few extra lines in here that actually hold the battery off the top, which gives you space for running cables to the LED. It also gives you space to be able to run the wire from here through to the switch. So we've got a bit of space in here to put the battery, and then we've got a bit of space there to run cables and that sort of thing. And we need to do that in 2 steps. So our first recess into there for the battery hole is going to be 15 millimeters deep. And then we're going to basically have to do that again to actually create the space for the wires and to hold the battery in place. So let's get onto this. This is a bit complicated to think about, but let's get onto this anyway. So we're going to basically be working on the bottom of our shape. So make sure you can see the word bottom there. And we're going to start by just creating a sketch. And our sketch is going to create straight away, and our main offset measurement, our main inside measurement is going to be 2 millimeters. So I'm going to create an offset, so sketch, offset of -2, and press enter. So if I was to push that right through, that would make it nice and hollow, but I'm not going to do that the whole way through. The next thing I'm going to do, if I go back to here, you can see that this shape here, this outline shape, is what we're going to be drawing. So we're going to be drawing this outline shape. You see that it doesn't actually go all the way around. It's got a line that goes along here. And that line that goes along here is going to be a 26 millimeter deep line from this line up here. So we've got the line of the inside offset, and we're going to come down to a 26 millimeter deep down here. So basically I'm just going to use the sketch line tool to draw a line. I'm just going to draw it from here across to this side. Now you see that it's currently set at 0.2 degrees. Doesn't really matter. Let's actually set it at 0.3 degrees. So it's not actually straight at the moment. So we've drawn that line. It's not actually straight at the moment. So let's basically use the horizontal vertical constraint over here to click on it and make it perfectly straight. Now we're going to use the dimension tool, and we're going to click on this line and this line, and we're basically going to make it so that it's that dimension that we had before, which was 26 millimeters. We now see that that line is set and stuck in place. Going back to our sketch now, our diagram, we've got this outside rectangle, we now have to create this little section here. This little section here is basically a little rectangle with some triangles cut out of it. So we should be able to figure out that. We're assuming that's in the middle, and this section here, this little rectangle, is going to be 6 millimeters wide. So let's just draw that. So I'm going to use a rectangle tool, and I'm going to draw from the bottom down here up to here something that's going to be 6 millimeters wide. So let's put a dimension on this, and we're going to dimension that section there to make it 6 millimeters wide. Now we want it to be perfectly in the middle, so half of 6 is 3. So if we draw this line here from the middle point there to be 3, sorry, that will actually have us perfectly in the middle. That's why I went to the step in the first video of making sure that my rectangle, my whole shape, is based off the middle. So we've now got that section in the middle. I'm going to apply a few trims now. I'm going to trim some stuff off because I really don't want everything appearing in this sketch. I don't want this line here. I don't want this line here. I don't want this line here. And I don't want that line there. I also don't really want that line there in the middle, but I can't get rid of it yet because, well, actually I need to click it twice because there's actually a rectangle line and another rectangle line. You'll also find that there's a second line there, so I'm going to trim that off. So now we've got that basic shape, and we'll see that it's gone blue. So let's actually fix that by pressing dimensions. I'm going to click on here and click on here, and that's going to be in 2 millimeters, and press enter. Now it's gone black again. I'm going to click in here and click on this line here and bring that up. It's also 2 millimeters, and I'm going to do the same on this side. That's also 2 millimeters, and this blue line down here is also 2 millimeters. So now it's gone black again. The reason why that disappeared is because I was relying on that offset tool, and then I deleted some of the lines, which destroyed the offset tool. But still, we've got the right shape now. So now I just need to go back to my diagram. I just need to put these lines in here, and you can see that from that point there of the triangle to this point here of the triangle is going to be 9 millimeters. So basically, it doesn't tell you how far down this goes, and I don't really think it matters. It's actually just a 45-degree chamfer. So basically, we're going to go into here, and we're going to see that there's no real easy way of doing this, so we're going to use the line tool. And we're going to draw a line from here down to here, and we're going to draw another line from here down to here. Now we're going to use the dimension tool on both sides to create that 9 millimeter difference. So from dimension, from this line here to here on the sketch was 9 millimeters. So let's type that in. And from this line here to this one here was also 9 millimeters. So let's type that in. Now, what we also noticed that was a 45-degree angle. So if we click on here, this line here, and this line here, we'll get an angle, and we're going to go 45. And then we're going to do the same on this side. So we're going to click on this line here, then we're going to click on this line here, and we're going to set that to 45 as well. So you can see that we've got that angle happening, and that line is happening down there. And that will set it up to be perfectly the same as it was in the diagram. I'm going to hit trim now, T for trim, and I'm going to trim off this line here, this line here, this line here, and this line here. Now you can see that the angle line is still there. That's just a dimension line. It's not actually doing anything else. Now I'm pretty certain that that's exactly how it should be according to this diagram here. I can see the measurements. It's a bit crowded, but I can see that that's pretty close. Now what has to happen is we need to push that up inside to be 15 millimeters deep at this point. So let's do that. Let's go back here. We're going to stop the sketch now, and then we're going to go modify. We're going to click on that shape there, and we're going to take it back in minus 15 so that it takes away our area there, and we should have a shape looking like that.